Hey everyone, it's Kristen. Today is Thursday. Yeah, whoops. Um, and yay, today we have, yesterday we had a stat card for Doctor Strange. So let's see. We've talked about him before. Of course, name Dr. Stephen Strange, occupation neurosurgeon, 6'2", 180 pounds, and first appearance Strange Tales 110, July of 63. So intelligence, 4, makes sense. I mean, I would venture to guess doctors, especially surgeons, are pretty smart. Strength, 2, makes sense because, you know, he's not like super strong or anything. That is not one of his powers. Speed, 7, oh. Okay, so that's like he's maxed out on speed, which surprises me because I don't think of him as fast, but I guess that makes sense. Durability 3, okay, a little bit more durable than average person, but not by much. Energy 6, that makes sense. Skills 3, interesting. You'd think for being a sorcerer supreme his skill level would be higher, but maybe it's just they're talking about like fighting skills. I don't know. It's just interesting. I don't really have the only other magic user I have to kind of compare him to is Loki. So I guess that's what we're gonna do because I don't have any other magic users really to compare him to. And like for villains, I don't have like, you know, anyone else, yeah, any major Doctor Strange villains to compare him to. So Loki, intelligence 5, as we said, Loki's pretty smart. Strength 5, he's an Asgardian, so of course. Speed 3, okay, Doctor Strange is way faster than him. Durability 6, again, he's an Asgardian, so that makes sense. Energy 6, okay, so same energy level. And skills 3, so, same skill level. Interesting. So, he beats Doctor Strange in intelligence and strength and durability, but Doctor Strange is faster. So, interesting. And their energy and skills are the same. So, yeah, like I said, very interesting. I would have thought, yeah, for being a Sorcerer Supreme, his skill level would be higher, but maybe the skills are not, they don't register that. So, and then for Wednesday, speaking of Loki, we have Loki and Malekith, the, dark elf lord with Jane Foster. Oh, and there's Dazzler. Are you gonna, oh, see? Oh, there. She made an appearance. You're so cute. Yeah, you are. Are you gonna get in your tray and sleep in your tray? No, not maybe. Maybe not. Okay, anyway, she's on the other side of the table though, so she's not like, I don't think she's gonna come back this way, but who knows. So for Wednesday, Thursday, we have Hela, the goddess of death, which we just yesterday or the last video talked about Hercules, another god. So this is, you can find her in Fantastic Four number 146, May 74. Also appears in Conan the Barbarian number 41, August 74. Fear number 25, December of 74. And this is, yeah, stamp 91. And this particular image comes from Thor number 186, March 71. Art by John Buscema and John, wow, Vera Porton, and it says the mighty Thor defeated by the goddess of death. And actually, they kept her stamp pretty much the same, I would say. So she appeared in Journey into Mystery, like 102. So roughly 20 issues after Thor appeared. It was like in 64. And obviously Unlike in the MCU, Hela is not related to Odin. She is not Odin's other, she's not Odin's daughter. That was just something they did for the movie, to kind of, move that or have her fit in with the movies that they had already done, and kind of make it make more sense, I guess, or without having to go into a lengthy explanation of, her character development and stuff. And it was just easier, I guess, just easy to be like, hey, yeah, she was Odin's firstborn, and, now she's come to take back over. And it's true, because she always, even though her realm is Hel, spelled with just one L, she is constantly trying to expand her realm, especially like when it comes to Valhalla, which is where warriors go when they die. She's constantly trying to, yeah, take over that as well. Or, she thinks that that should be rightfully hers as the goddess of death. So she's constantly in conflict with Odin and Thor because of that. She has actually killed Thor multiple times, and then he's been restored. Once by like one of her helpers that realized, oh, this isn't right. Something silent. I want to say the silent one, and then the second time by Sith, who volunteered her life for Thor's, and yeah, Odin actually killed Hela, but Thor said, no, you need to restore her, because otherwise the balance, of life and death is thrown off. So, and we, like I said, we talked about Hercules, and we talked about Pluto, Hades, basically. He actually wanted to, one of the times when Odin died, because he's died like 3 or 4 times, I've talked about that, he wanted to have Odin's soul. He was trying to claim it for himself. And she, of course, couldn't let him have it, so she was forced to restore Odin so that Pluto couldn't have Odin's soul. And she has conspired with other, Thor villains. Loki, trying to bring about Ragnarok, but by killing Balder, but Thor, or Odin put that protection spell on him to where he couldn't be killed within the realm of Asgard. She also tried to work with Malekith, the Dark Lord elf guy. Like I said, I'm terrible with names. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. She combined her realm with all the other gods, like death realms, to form like one huge super death world. And she actually was killed by the God Eater. His name starts with a D, but I don't remember how to pronounce it. And she was restored when Thor and his team of other gods defeated the God Eater. And so then when he was defeated, then she was restored. Let's see. Oh, she even, like, Mephisto has even tried to, claim her territory, claim Thor's soul. And one of the times when he was killed, because, of course, he's been killed multiple times. Well, I already said that. So one of the times when he was killed, he actually, his soul, or, is incorporeal form, whatever, took control of the destroyer armor and basically was making a mess of her realm, Hel. And so she finally had to restore him to life so he would not completely destroy her realm. So kind of similar to, the other situation with Hercules when Thor rescued him from Pluto. Same kind of thing, the contract that I talked about. So, she corrupted, at one point she corrupted the Valkyries and had them be, her, like, death squad. And that includes Dani Moonstar from the X-Men. She was one of the New Mutants. And one of the stories I really loved is when the New Mutants, like, because of Dani basically and her connection to the Valkyries, so therefore her connection to Asgard, they were there and they rescued this wolf prince, which, like I said, I can't remember his name either. The thing about comics books too is they can like write whatever name they want and use whatever letters and whatever, and it doesn't even have to make sense. It doesn't even have to be like a real word or anything, a real name. And I mean, they can do that in print, and you have no idea how to pronounce it because they just wrote it, but it's not like that. I feel like someone needs to make a pronunciation guide. That'd be awesome. Like, go through all the things, all the names, of major characters that you're not really sure how to pronounce, or like, for example, the bands of Juggernaut, the Ruby of Sidorak. I've heard it pronounced Sidorak and Sidorak, so I'm not sure which one is technically correct. So yeah, I feel like someone should make a pronunciation guide. I mean, I'm probably the only one that thinks that's a great idea. So, never mind. So anyway, they encounter this wolf prince. They save him. He was like the descendant of Vernus, the huge wolf. And they save him. Wolfsbane actually falls in love with him because they're similar. She feels like he's a kindred spirit, but unfortunately they have to part. Especially considering they're New Mutants at this time, so they're still super young. So he has his kingdom to run, and she has her other duties. Like, she can't just stay with him. But yeah, that was a really a cute story. I really like that story. Yeah, and when Asgard is destroyed, yeah, Hela ends up in Vegas, and she feeds on the people, the like unlucky souls, which is kind of crazy to me to think, she's just randomly in Vegas and that's what she does. And because Dani, with the, whole Valkyrie Asgard connection, has gone to her for help, numerous times in different things. Like, the Wolf Prince and Wolfsbane actually found each other years later, and they got together, and Wolfsbane was pregnant, and he actually went to Hela because he needed her to restore Elixir so that he could save Dani, or save Wolfsbane, Brain, and the baby. And so he made a deal with Hela that he would go back with her to her realm if she would do this. So, kind of a sad ending to their love story, but she, at least Rain has the baby to kind of give her comfort. So during like the Siege of Asgard story, Hela actually gained control of the Twilight Sword, the Sword of Acerta, and Enchantress actually, this is one of the times when she's actually on the side of good. She actually helps Thor out and like teleports him away when it looks like he's gonna lose, and teleports away Mjolnir. So because Hela tries to destroy it and she can't. So also different from the movie. And Enchantress teleports Thor and Mjolnir away so that she can't get to them. And then he actually is able to finally wrest the Twilight Sword away from her, and he, banishes her, and he restores the Nine Realms, but he chooses not to restore Asgard because he feels like that would be selfish, and that would make him kind of like Hela, and he doesn't want to be like Hela. So yeah, and I did talk about the Chaos King that enslaved all the gods, and Hela was one of those gods that was enslaved until Hercules saved them. And again, there was another time when Dani went to Hela in Vegas for help, and she was transported to Hell, and the X-Men tried to go after her and, you know, save her. And, oh, Angela, which I think is a cool character. I've talked about her. Her lover dies, and so she demands Hela release her soul, which, you know, it doesn't really work like that. So she goes down there to Hell and defeats Hela and claims, you know, Hell for herself so that she could get her lover's soul back. But she realizes quickly, I don't really want to be the ruler of Hell, so she has Balder be the ruler of Hell instead. And, you know, after Hela loses Hell, she tries to make a deal with Thanos to get Hell back. Because she, you know, without Hell, she basically has no power. And I guess she realizes, even though she doesn't really want, well, she does, you know, thirst for power because she wants to expand her empire. So without any empire, then she really kind of has no power. So, yeah. Oh, Dazzler fell asleep in her tray. She's adorable. I mean, I'm glad she made that brief appearance, but yeah, she's adorable. So I wish you guys could see that. But anyway, so thank you for joining me for this video, and until next time, bye.